23 most shocking recent archaeological discoveries found in Egypt's pyramids. Discovery number 23. The mummies who could speak in death. In 2024, archaeologists made a discovery at Oxyrhynchus that would have made ancient Egyptians smile with satisfaction. 29 golden tongues. Not jewelry, not decorations, but actual golden tongues carefully placed in the mouths of mummies spanning nearly 2,000 years. But why gold? Why tongues? The answer reveals one of humanity's most persistent fears. The ancient Egyptians believed that death was just the beginning of a journey. But what good is eternal life if you can't speak? What's the point of reaching the afterlife if you're condemned to eternal silence? So they solved the problem with the most precious metal they knew. Gold tongues placed in the mouths of the dead, ensuring they could speak, plead their case, and tell their stories to the gods. 29 people across 20 centuries, all sharing the same desperate hope that death wouldn't steal their voice. Discovery number 22. The pyramid that defied physics. In 2019, Egypt did something unprecedented. They opened a pyramid that had been sealed for over 50 years. The bent pyramid at Dashur doesn't look like the others. Halfway up, its angle suddenly changes, creating a bizarre, almost impossible shape that seems to defy the laws of architecture. For decades, experts assumed it was a mistake, a construction failure, evidence that ancient engineers didn't know what they were doing. They were wrong. When tourists finally descended the 79-meter tunnel into its heart, they discovered something extraordinary. The bent pyramid wasn't a failure. It was an experiment. The ancient builders had deliberately changed the angle mid-construction, creating internal chambers with acoustic properties unlike anything else on Earth. The pyramid wasn't just a tomb. It was a resonance chamber, designed to amplify sound and create otherworldly effects. The mistake was actually a masterpiece of ancient engineering that we're only beginning to understand. Discovery number 21. The restoration that revealed ancient secrets. In 2020, after 14 years of painstaking work, Egypt reopened the world's first pyramid. The step pyramid of Djoser had been crumbling, damaged by earthquakes and time. But when restoration teams carefully dismantled and rebuilt sections, they found something no one expected. Hidden chambers, secret passages, rooms that hadn't appeared on any ancient blueprint. The restoration revealed that the step pyramid wasn't just the first pyramid. It was a prototype, a testing ground where ancient architects experimented with designs that would later be perfected at Giza. But here's the most intriguing part. Some of the hidden chambers contained evidence of rituals that predated the pyramid itself. The site was sacred long before Djoser built his monument there. The world's first pyramid was built on top of something even older, something we're still trying to understand. Discovery number 20. The family frozen in time. In 2024, archaeologists discovered more than 30 tombs carved into a hillside in Aswan, and what they found inside changed everything we thought we knew about ancient Egyptian families. These weren't royal burials. These weren't wealthy nobles. These were ordinary families, buried together across centuries, from the 6th century BC to the 3rd century AD. But the statistics were heartbreaking. 30 to 40% of the mummies were children and newborns. The tombs revealed a harsh truth about ancient life. Anemia and infectious disease were the leading killers. Families buried child after child, generation after generation. Yet they never stopped hoping, never stopped caring for their dead, with elaborate rituals and beautiful burial goods. The Aswan tombs show us that love transcends time, that the bond between parents and children was just as strong 2,000 years ago as it is today. Sometimes the most powerful discoveries aren't about pharaohs or gold. They're about the universal human experience of loss and love. Discovery number 19. The Copper Conspiracy. In 2024, scientists made a discovery that revealed the true environmental cost of building the pyramids. They analyzed sediments from the ancient harbor near the Great Pyramid and found something shocking. Copper pollution levels 5 to 6 times higher than natural background levels, peaking exactly when the pyramids were being built. This wasn't just construction debris. This was evidence of industrial-scale metalworking, of thousands of copper tools being manufactured, used, and discarded in the greatest construction project in human history. But here's what makes this discovery truly mind-blowing. The pollution levels were so high that they would be considered an environmental disaster by modern standards. The ancient Egyptians had created the world's first industrial pollution, 4,500 years before the Industrial Revolution. The pyramids weren't just architectural marvels, they were environmental game-changers that left scars in the earth that we can still detect today. Discovery number 18, the Observatory that mapped eternity. In 2024, archaeologists uncovered something that had never been found before in Egypt, the world's first astronomical observatory. Dating to the 6th century BC, this L-shaped structure wasn't just a building, it was a machine for measuring time, tracking stars, and predicting the future. The observatory contained a massive stone sundial and carvings of observers watching the sun. But the most incredible feature was its eastern gateway, perfectly positioned to track celestial movements with mathematical precision. This wasn't just about telling time. The ancient Egyptians were using this observatory to synchronize their earthly activities with cosmic events, to ensure that their rituals, their festivals, and their burials happened at exactly the right moment in the celestial cycle. They believed that timing was everything, that the success of their civilization depended on staying in harmony with the movements of the stars. The observatory proves that ancient Egypt wasn't just advanced, it was cosmically connected. Discovery number 17, the tomb that revealed ancient medicine. In 2024, scientists made a discovery that rewrote medical history. They found a 4,500-year-old skull with evidence of something extraordinary, ancient brain surgery. The skull showed a large primary tumor and several smaller ones. But here's what made this discovery revolutionary. Someone had tried to remove the cancer using metal surgical instruments. The surgery was unsuccessful. The patient died. But the attempt itself was groundbreaking. This was happening at the same time the pyramids were being built. While some ancient Egyptians were moving massive stone blocks, others were performing delicate neurosurgery, trying to save lives with techniques that wouldn't be seen again for thousands of years. The skull proves that ancient Egyptian medicine was far more advanced than we ever imagined. They weren't just mummifying the dead, they were fighting death itself. Discovery number 16, the ritual that revealed ancient highs. In 2024, scientists analyzed a 2,200-year-old vase depicting the dwarf god Bes and found something that would have shocked Victorian archaeologists. The vase contained traces of a blood-colored hallucinogenic concoction, evidence of ancient Egyptian drug rituals. This wasn't recreational use, this was religious technology, a way of inducing altered states of consciousness to communicate with the gods. The ritual reenacted a mythical story where the god Bes tricks the bloodthirsty goddess Hathor by giving her a drink that looks like blood, but is actually a plant-based drug that puts her into a deep sleep of forgetfulness. The ancient Egyptians weren't just worshipping their gods, they were chemically becoming them, using sophisticated psychoactive compounds to transcend ordinary consciousness and enter divine realms. The vase proves that ancient Egyptian religion was far more complex and experiential than we ever realized. Discovery number 15, the paintings that captured everyday eternity. In 2024, archaeologists discovered a 4,300-year-old tomb at Dashur that contained something rarely seen in royal burials, scenes of ordinary life. The wall paintings showed donkeys threshing grain, ships sailing the Nile, goods being sold at markets. But these weren't just decorations. They were instructions for the afterlife. The tomb belonged to Senib-neb-Af and his wife Idet, a priestess of Hathor. They weren't royalty, but they were wealthy enough to commission artwork that would ensure their eternal happiness. The paintings reveal a profound truth about ancient Egyptian beliefs. The afterlife wasn't supposed to be different from regular life. It was supposed to be regular life, perfected and made eternal. These people didn't want to become gods. They wanted to keep being themselves forever, doing the same things they loved in life, working, trading, sailing, living. The tomb shows us that the ancient Egyptian dream of immortality was surprisingly humble and beautifully human. Discovery number 14. The temple, hidden in plain sight. In 2024, archaeologists discovered a 2,100-year-old temple that had been hiding in a cliff face for over 2 millennia. The temple at Athribis contained reliefs showing King Ptolemy VIII offering sacrifices to the lion-headed goddess Repit and her son Calanthes. But the most intriguing features were the astronomical symbols, decans or stars that enable people to tell time at night. These decans were depicted with humanoid bodies and animal heads, suggesting that the ancient Egyptians saw time itself as a living, breathing entity. The temple wasn't just a place of worship, it was a cosmic clock, a way of synchronizing human activities with the movements of the stars. But here's what makes this discovery truly extraordinary. The temple had been hidden in plain sight for over 2,000 years. Countless people had walked past the cliff face without realizing that one of Egypt's most sophisticated astronomical temples was carved into the rock right in front of them. Sometimes the greatest discoveries are hiding where we least expect them. Discovery number 13. The sword that proved royal favor. In 2024, archaeologists found a bronze sword in the remains of a military barracks that changed our understanding of ancient Egyptian military hierarchy. The sword was inscribed with the name of Pharaoh Rameses II, but it wasn't found in a royal tomb or a ceremonial chamber. It was found in a small room near a defensive position, suggesting it was meant for actual combat. This was a royal reward given to a high-ranking officer who had earned the pharaoh's personal favor. But the location where it was found tells a darker story. The sword was discovered near an area where enemies could infiltrate, suggesting that its owner died defending Egypt from invasion. He carried his pharaoh's personal gift into his final battle. The sword represents the ultimate expression of loyalty, a warrior who valued his king's approval more than his own life, who carried a symbol of royal favor into mortal combat. It's a 3,000-year-old story of honor, duty, and the price of serving power. Discovery number 12. The mastaba that revealed ancient hierarchy. In 2024, archaeologists discovered a 4,300-year-old mastaba tomb at Dashur that belonged to an individual named Neb-Neb-Off and his wife. But this wasn't just another tomb. The reliefs and inscriptions revealed a complex social hierarchy that we're still trying to understand. Neb-Neb-Af held multiple titles and responsibilities, suggesting that ancient Egyptian society was far more bureaucratic and specialized than we previously thought. He wasn't just a noble. He was part of a sophisticated administrative system that managed everything from agriculture to religious ceremonies. The mastaba shows us that ancient Egypt wasn't just ruled by pharaohs and priests. There was an entire middle management class of educated, skilled professionals who kept the civilization running. The tomb proves that ancient Egypt was less like a simple monarchy and more like a complex corporate state with layers of management and specialization that wouldn't look out of place in a modern government. Discovery number 11. The mummies that revealed ancient abundance. In 2022, archaeologists at Saqqara made one of the largest single discoveries in Egyptian history: 250 complete mummies in painted wooden sarcophagi. But the sheer number wasn't what made this discovery extraordinary. It was what the mummies revealed about ancient Egyptian society. These weren't all wealthy nobles. The sarcophagi showed a range of quality and decoration, suggesting that mummification and elaborate burial had become accessible to a much broader segment of society than previously thought. The discovery revealed that ancient Egypt had developed something like a middle class, people wealthy enough to afford mummification and decorated coffins, but not wealthy enough for the most elaborate royal treatments. The 250 mummies show us that ancient Egyptian civilization was more prosperous and egalitarian than we ever imagined. Death, at least, was becoming democratized. Discovery number 10. The pharaoh who was digitally reborn. In 2021, scientists achieved something that would have seemed like magic to ancient Egyptians. They brought a pharaoh back to life without disturbing his eternal rest. Using CT scans, they digitally unwrapped the mummy of Pharaoh Amenhotep I For the first time in 3,000 years, the virtual unwrapping revealed incredible details. The pharaoh's face, his burial jewelry, even the techniques used by ancient embalmers. But the most shocking discovery was that Amenhotep I had been rewrapped multiple times throughout history. Priests had periodically opened his mummy, repaired damage, and rewrapped him with fresh bandages. The pharaoh had been restored several times over the centuries, suggesting that ancient Egyptians maintained their royal mummies like we maintain historic monuments. The digital unwrapping proved that ancient Egyptian mummification wasn't a one-time process. It was an ongoing commitment to preservation that lasted for millennia. Amenhotep I had been cared for by his people for over 3,000 years, making him perhaps the longest maintained human body in history. Discovery number 9. The treasurer who served beyond death. In 2021, archaeologists discovered the tomb of Ta-Em-Weah, the treasurer of Pharaoh Ramesses II, and found evidence of loyalty that transcended death. Ta-Em-Weah wasn't just a treasurer. He was royal scribe, supervisor of cattle, and presided over sacrifices at the Ramesses II temple in Thebes. He was one of the most powerful non-royal individuals in ancient Egypt. But here's what made his tomb extraordinary. It was designed to allow him to continue serving his pharaoh in the afterlife. The tomb's layout and decorations suggested that Ta-Em-Weah expected to resume his duties as treasurer in the realm of the dead, managing resources and conducting business for his king throughout eternity. The tomb reveals that ancient Egyptian concepts of the afterlife weren't just about personal immortality. They were about maintaining social structures and professional relationships forever. Death wasn't retirement. It was a promotion to eternal service. Discovery number 8. The coffins that defied time. In 2020, archaeologists made what they called the biggest discovery of 2020, 210 sealed sarcophagi at Saqqara that had remained unopened for over 2,500 years. But the real mystery wasn't what was inside the coffins. It was how they had remained perfectly sealed for so long. The sarcophagi were found in 3 separate wells, suggesting a coordinated burial event. The coffins were intact, the seals unbroken, the contents perfectly preserved. This wasn't just good luck. This was evidence of ancient Egyptian preservation technology that we still don't fully understand. The coffins contained mummies, funerary masks, canopic jars, and statues, all in pristine condition. But they also contained something unexpected, evidence that these weren't all wealthy burials. The 210 sarcophagi represented a cross-section of ancient Egyptian society, from wealthy merchants to skilled craftsmen. They showed us that elaborate burial practices had spread far beyond the royal and priestly classes. The discovery proved that ancient Egypt had achieved something remarkable: mass production of immortality. Discovery number 7. The corridor that shouldn't exist. In 2023, the Scan Pyramids project confirmed something that defied everything we thought we knew about the Great Pyramid's internal structure. Using cosmic ray muon tomography, they had detected a 9-meter-long corridor near the pyramid's north face. But when they finally confirmed its existence, they realized it raised more questions than it answered. The corridor was too small to be a burial chamber, too precisely constructed to be a mistake, and too well hidden to be a simple passage. The corridor's position suggested it might be connected to the massive void discovered above the Grand Gallery, but its purpose remained completely mysterious. Here's what made this discovery truly mind-blowing. The corridor had been hidden for 4,500 years, sealed behind stones that showed no signs of ancient disturbance. The ancient builders had deliberately concealed this passage, suggesting it served a purpose so important that it had to be kept secret even from other pyramid builders. The corridor proves that the Great Pyramid still holds secrets that could revolutionize our understanding of ancient Egyptian engineering and beliefs. Discovery number 6. The mummy that rewrote history. In 2023, archaeologists discovered something at Saqqara that made headlines around the world: a 4,300-year-old mummy covered in gold leaf. Hekhasheps wasn't a pharaoh. He wasn't even nobility. but he had been buried with more gold than some kings in a sealed sarcophagus at the bottom of a 15-meter shaft. The discovery raised profound questions about ancient Egyptian society. How did a non-royal person accumulate enough wealth for such an elaborate burial? What did he do to deserve treatment usually reserved for pharaohs? But here's what made Hatshepsut truly extraordinary. He might be the oldest complete mummy ever found in Egypt. The preservation was so perfect that scientists could study details of ancient mummification techniques that had been lost to time. Discovery number 4. The Observatory that mapped the cosmos. In 2025, archaeologists made a discovery that would have thrilled ancient Egyptian astronomers. Evidence that they had been systematically mapping the cosmos for thousands of years. The Astronomical Observatory discovered in 2024 was just the beginning. New analysis revealed that ancient Egyptians had created a network of observation points across the country, all designed to track celestial movements with incredible precision. But this wasn't just about curiosity. The Egyptians were using astronomical data to time everything from religious festivals to construction projects to military campaigns. The Cosmic Mapping Project revealed that ancient Egyptian civilization was synchronized with the universe itself, operating on a schedule determined by the movements of stars and planets. The discovery proved that ancient Egypt wasn't just advanced, it was cosmically integrated, functioning as part of a larger celestial system that we're only beginning to understand. Tower discovery number 3. The pharaoh who conquered death. Twice. In 2025, archaeologists announced the discovery of Thutmose II's tomb, calling it Egypt's biggest archaeological discovery since 1922. But Thutmose II had already been found once before. A mummy believed to be the pharaoh was discovered in 1881 in a cache of royal mummies. So what made this new discovery so revolutionary? The tomb revealed that Thutmose II had been buried twice. The original burial had been elaborate and magnificent, befitting a pharaoh who ruled during Egypt's golden age. But during the decline of the new kingdom, priests had moved his mummy to a secret cache to protect it from tomb robbers. The newly discovered tomb contained evidence of both burials, the original grave goods and the later reburial artifacts. It was a 3,500-year-old story of devotion, showing how ancient Egyptians risked their lives to protect their pharaohs even centuries after death. Thutmose II had conquered death not once, but twice, achieving immortality through the dedication of his people. Discovery number 2. The family that defied eternity. In 2025, archaeologists at Saqqara discovered something that had never been seen before. A unique sculpture depicting an entire ancient Egyptian family carved as a single piece. The sculpture showed parents and children together, their faces bearing expressions of love and protection that transcended time. But this wasn't just art, it was a revolutionary approach to immortality. Traditional Egyptian burial practices focused on individual preservation. Each person was mummified separately, buried with their own grave goods, expected to navigate the afterlife alone. But this family had chosen a different path. They had commissioned a sculpture that would keep them together forever, ensuring that their bonds of love would survive death itself. The family sculpture represented a radical reimagining of ancient Egyptian afterlife beliefs. Instead of individual immortality, they had chosen eternal togetherness. The discovery proved that even in a civilization obsessed with death and preservation, love was the most powerful force of all. Discovery number 1. The underground city that could rewrite history. In 2025, Italian and Scottish scientists made a claim so extraordinary that it divided the archaeological world. They had discovered a vast underground city beneath the Giza pyramids. Using synthetic aperture radar technology from satellites 420 miles above Earth, they detected what they claimed were massive structures extending over 6,500 feet across and 2,000 feet below ground. The radar images showed 8 large vertical structures, possibly wells or shafts, connected by spiral pathways leading deep underground. The team claimed these structures matched descriptions of the legendary halls of Amenti from ancient Egyptian mythology. But here's what made this discovery truly explosive. If confirmed, it would prove that the pyramids were just the visible tip of a massive underground complex. That ancient Egyptian civilization was far more advanced than anyone ever imagined. The discovery sparked fierce debate. Renowned archaeologist Zahi Hawass called it fake news. Other experts dismissed the claims as scientifically impossible. But the radar data was real. The images were compelling, and the implications were staggering. If the underground city exists, it would mean that everything we think we know about ancient Egypt is wrong. The pyramids wouldn't be tombs. They would be markers, pointing to something far more incredible hidden beneath the sand. The discovery represents the ultimate archaeological mystery, a claim so extraordinary that it could revolutionize our understanding of human civilization, if only we could prove it's real.